Hi, I'm David Fleming from the Disciples Ignited YouTube channel, where we are focused on Jesus, advancing his kingdom and preparing his disciples. Now, we've been studying Romans chapter 9, where Paul has been introducing us to some Old Testament prophecies which call Jesus a stumbling block, a offensive stone, a stone of stumbling. And even Jesus, in his teaching that we find in Matthew and Luke, says this: everyone who falls on that stone, speaking of himself, will be broken to pieces. And when it falls on anyone, it will crush him. Now, let's be honest. What do you do with such teaching? I mean, teaching that tells you that you're going to be offended by Jesus. You're going to stumble over some of the things that Jesus does and teaches. You're going to even be crushed by Jesus, be broken by Jesus. How do we deal with this? Well, we deal with it in just like we deal with anything that we don't understand as we're walking with Jesus. We trust him. You see, Jesus has proven himself over and over to be faithful and true. As the Psalms say, I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor their seed begging for bread. Now, does that mean that this person has never had a need? They'd never come up against a situation that they didn't know what to do? Oh, no, absolutely not. It just means that the Lord has been faithful every step of the way. So what do when you're offended by Jesus? He just doesn't do what you thought that he was going to do. He disappoints you. You trust him. What do you do when you stumble over Jesus because he has not answered a prayer or something like that? You put your faith in him. You trust him. What do you do when Jesus, the stone, breaks you and even seems to crush you? What do? You trust him. You put your faith in him. Now, as we consider Jesus, who is all these things, he is a rock of offense, a stone of stumbling. He even breaks and crushes us. We know all these things because they're scripture. But that doesn't mean that it's easy to really take hold of. But I want you to know that this whole thing about faith, that's the only way to walk with Jesus, trusting in him, obeying him every step of the way. Just like Abraham, when God called Abraham and said, I want you to go to a country that you don't even know about. Just trust me. And Abraham did. Well, we do the same. As Paul later on taught and wrote down to the Corinthians, he said, for we live by faith. And that's it. That's how we follow Jesus on this straight and narrow way that he has us upon. We put our faith upon him. And I want you to know about faith. It's going to be the easiest thing that Jesus has ever asked you to do. But it's also going to be the most difficult. What do I mean? Well, it's going to be the easiest thing that you could ever do because it really has nothing to do with you whatsoever. It has nothing to do with your ability, your merit, your efforts, your power, your strength, your mind, your emotions. It really has nothing to do with you. You're trusting in Jesus to see you through every step of the way. That's why it's so easy. You're just trusting in Jesus. It's all about Jesus. But it's also going to be the most difficult thing that Jesus has ever asked you to do or ever will ask you to do, because, see, he's asking you, he's requiring you to trust in him instead of trusting in yourself, to trust in him instead of trusting in how you can figure it out. See, faith means you're trusting Jesus even when it doesn't make sense. So as we come to Jesus, the rock of offense, the stone of stumbling, who even at times seems to crush us, what do? We trust him. We put our faith in him because we know that he is a rock of stability and strength, and he alone can see us through to the end. We'll see you tomorrow.